Let's talk about how you create a new you. Hey guys, Randy Gage here. I want to welcome you to another episode of Prosperity TV. I'm coming to you live and in color from my place in Miami once again, where I spend most of the winter. And if you're watching this when the show first comes out, it's just before New Year's. So I always like to wish people a happy new you at this time of year. And so it doesn't matter when you're watching it. You could be watching this in June of 2023. I think you can do that at any time. You can give yourself a reset, a reboot, and give yourself a chance to start over in a new direction. And that's really what that I want to talk about this week. So how do you do that? How do you create a new you? Well, let's go back to something we chat about all the time in this channel, which is change your thoughts, change your life. I mean, it doesn't get any more basic essence than that. Change your thought, change your life. We all have patterns. We all have routines. We all have stimuli around us, right? So you can be walking down the hall to throw your garbage in the garbage room or whatever, and you go by an apartment and you smell French toast, and that could, wow, I remember when I was a kid and my mother made French toast and whatever, right? But there's really positive examples of that where some external stimuli anchor something in a positive way. And there's a billion different ways that external stimuli anchor something in a negative or a way that doesn't serve you, doesn't allow you to create prosperity and health and happiness and the things that you're looking for in life. So I can tell you, I don't want to give too many examples because I'll have people watching this who are knowing I'm throwing shade on them, and I'm not doing this to throw shade on them. I'm doing it to demonstrate this is something we all can fall into. You have people in your life that you don't see that often. You see them 7 times a year, twice a year, 10 times a year, and you know you're going to have the same conversation with them every time because they have their data dump, right? So I have a guy that I meet for dinner, maybe once every month or two we'll have dinner, and I know he's gonna want to spend the entire dinner talking about Trump and all the horrible things that he thinks he's doing. And I don't want to spend my dinner talking about that guy. All right, I want a much more positive energy in my life than that. But that's kind of his default thing. I have people, I have a massage therapist that works on me. That I mean, he can have the same conversation every time I see him, and it's It's just I had my grandfather before he passed away, and his wife, bless their souls. I would go there for dinner once a month or so when they were down in Florida, but it was always the same conversation, right? Because as we get older, I think we fall into these patterns, and we get a belief about something, a worldview, a perspective about the world, and then we just filter everything through that same perspective. And if we will change that thought process so that when we are going to be with that person that's going to have the same conversation, instead of falling into it, we become proactive and change it into a more empowering conversation, right? If you've ever suffered with addiction or fought addiction like I did, you have triggers, right? There could be a certain trigger that triggers you to want to do that addiction. You have to reprogram that trigger to say, okay, I want to change my state, that when I get that stimuli, instead of defaulting toward this negative behavior which hasn't served me, I'm going to default toward a more empowering behavior. I'm going to reprogram. I'm going to change the way I think. I'm going to change the associations of people around me, of external circumstances, of senses, all of those kind of things. The next thing I would say, if we go a little deeper, then I'd say trade in a habit. You want to create a new you? Take an old habit, trade it in for a new one. So you could have a habit of smoking, and you say, you know, I'm going to trade in my habit of smoking for a habit of going for a brisk walk twice a day. That helps transform your life. That makes a new you. You could have a habit of always defaulting to being the victim and want to get revenge and get even. And you could replace that habit of defaulting to vengeance to defaulting to forgiveness. Grace. Here's another one that's going to shake up some of you. Maybe you need to trade in a person, right? We all have our sacred circle, our 5, 6, 8 people that we spend the most time with that really influence our world in a major, major way. You might do some critical thinking on that and say, you know, I'm going to have to consciously spend less time with person A because they're very negative. I don't think they want the best for me. They always default to a worst case scenario, and they don't make me a better person. I feel like I'm a worse person whenever I'm around them. So I need to, sometimes you have to eliminate them from your life, and sometimes you can't because of external factors. You might be working with them, whatever, you may be related to them, but you say, okay, I'm going to spend less time with that person A, and I'm going to introduce person F into my life, and I'm going to spend more time with them. So I'm going to trade in one model for another model. And then another example would be trading in a belief that you have. So you have a belief, oh, I don't know that many people, I'm not that connected. Well, that's a belief. You could trade it in for a new belief that is, hey, meeting people is a skill, and that's a skill I can learn, and I'm going to develop that skill and meet some more people because I think that would be great for my career. You could have a belief that says, I don't have the right education to be successful. I don't have the right degree. I didn't go to the Ivy League college that some people did, and so I don't have that degree that I need to be successful. That's a belief, and as long as you believe it, it's true. But if you change that belief to an empowering belief and say, man, I watch this Gage guy on YouTube every week, and he got expelled from high school in the 8th grade. So education didn't stop him. And what about, I mean, and we could do the list, you know, how many people who dropped out of college or dropped out of high school and have become multimillionaires, multi-billionaires, so successful in things that they do. And not just money, all kind of things. You know, look at The Rock. The Rock is just killing it right now. Biggest movie star on the planet. I mean, he's just, look at what he does on social media. Look what he's doing on TV. Look at what he's doing in the movies. Here's a guy who was, I think he was down to his last $7 at one point, and that's why he calls his company $7 Productions. And, you know, I get maybe you say, well, he's not a Shakespearean actor. Okay, I get it. But look what he's done. Look at the success that he's created. Building this company and production company and making movies and executive producing television shows, and I mean, he's just doing amazing things. So it's a case of change. And I think if you sat down and talked to Dwayne Johnson, he would tell you, yeah, I had to trade in a lot of beliefs that I had when I was broke and struggling, and he wanted to play in the NFL and he didn't make it, and so he went and played in Canada, and then he went into the, you know, the wrestling stuff, and then he got into acting, and look, you know, where it all took him. But I guarantee you, I had to change a lot of beliefs along the way. So think about that. What is a belief that you might want to trade in? What is a person you might want to trade in? What is a habit you might want to trade in? What is a way of thinking you want to trade in? All right, let me know what you think. Go out and have an amazing week. Peace. Hey, do me a favor and subscribe. I'm amazed how many thousands of people watch this show on YouTube and don't subscribe. And all you podcasters who are listening to this and listen almost every show, yet you haven't subscribed, so you won't get the notice every time a new show comes out. So do me a favor, hit the subscribe button.